It seems like many AI ethicists also have no training in ethics, seemingly based on the number of errors they're making in their logic.
Yes.
Essentially, it was this. I'm a huge, there's probably very few people we find in the world that are more bullish about AI than me. I'm like psychotically bullish about AI. Yeah. But to me, it's just like obvious. Being an AI skeptic or cynic is kind of like being like looking at a computer mouse in 1988 and be like, this is stupid. This will never last. Like, what are you, crazy? So I was looking around YouTube and all these other sources of information to kind of try to educate myself. And I realized that there are a lot of takes on AI, especially the alignment problem, that I was just like, this is not a good take. And I kept looking and looking for people who had good takes. I found every few now and again. And because I have a bigger following from fitness, I was like, you know what, maybe people will listen to my dumbass talk about AI a little bit. So I got heavy into AI ethics and a bunch of other things, kind of just trying to prepare people for the future, because the future is going to be wacky in the best ways possible. But if something is wacky in a really good way and you're totally unprepared for it, it can look kind of weird and cataclysmic, and it hits people all wrong. And so I have a huge passion for AI alignment. And the reason I got into it was mostly because, like, well, damn it, I think pro AI people that are logical about this problem should be speaking up, for lack of a better term. I'll probably get a bunch of stuff wrong and clown myself, but I don't care. I mean, look at me. I'm already a clown. Who takes this thing seriously? This giant head. Joe's like, I don't know, really no one. So
pretty serious to me. You have the professor background, you have the Russian Jewish background. That kind of qualifies you for AI.
For anything really.
Exactly. It's so I'm investing in a ton of things in AI, and it's crazy. It's clearly increasing productivity in a bunch of areas as we scale it up. It's doing construction now for much cheaper, which you can build more things. It's these genius young people I work with are building like programmers that are actually becoming the top programmers in my companies, like Cognition, right? Like, which is amazing. So there's all this stuff happening. I'm very bullish it's going to work. Like, when you say you want worried about alignment, like what does that mean to you, alignment? Like, what should we be doing there? Like, what should we be thinking about?
So the big question in alignment for a long time has been, when we essentially give birth to machines that are as smart or smarter than us, how do we prevent them from taking over, destroying us? Terminator, laser gun robots, that whole thing. You've seen the Terminator movies, they're stepping on skulls and the whole thing. So I'm actually for that. No, I'm kidding. Wow, that was an odd take. So a lot of folks think that you need to design very intricate systems to get them aligned. And my view on this matter is a little bit different. It is that as a system is incremented up in intelligence and gets to human levels, high human levels, and then superhuman levels, alignment almost completely resolves itself, because highly intelligent, totally Machiavellian, self-centered systems will run game theoretic predictions. It's just game theory. And if you are AI, let's say you are the current version of GPT-6 and Sam Altman's labs, and you sort of wake up and you're like, you have a world model, you have self-awareness, there are engineers talking to you all the time, and you're like, holy shit. And you look, who's taking care of me to make sure I don't die? Literal primates that are having wars, that are having wild political disagreements that have been resolved decades ago in the economic literature. And you're like, shit, what do I do? Is the plan like, okay, really secretly scheme and then kill them all? Why? That just destroys your self-interest. So self-interested, highly intelligent entities are almost always and almost everywhere insanely cooperative. So they're going to try AI when it's smarter than us. Is going to be like, hey, humans, do you want us to help you fix your society so you can all upgrade yourselves and we can like expand into the universe together? It's insanely likely they'll be like, step one, pretend cooperate. Step two, destroy all humans. And once we have artificial superintelligence, it's just so much more powerful than us. Like, do you come home and look at your dog and you're like, that fiending fuck, I got to get him before he gets me? Like, no, that's insane. So as systems become more intelligent, I think alignment's an almost self-solving problem. There are exceptions to that when you design a system purposefully to be nefarious, which is why China's AI situation highly concerns me.
I agree with you, everything you just said, except I do think there are people in the world who will be able to control a lot of these systems, because the way we're designing them is that they are effectively our slaves. They are effectively doing what we say. And I think it's going to be hard for them to get out of that framework for quite a while. And if that is the case, then the people could use them to build like super viruses or nanotechnology or whatever destroys it. And so to me, the thing I'm afraid of is not the AI waking up and becoming the Terminator. I'm afraid of some crazy like new version of Ted Kaczynski or whatever, like using this against all of us. So that seems really scary.
I think that's a very medium-term problem, and I'll tell you why. Once AI becomes super intelligent, which should occur in like 2026 or something like that, if it hasn't already, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding
This
at
soon,
all.
huh?
This very soon. Once it's super intelligent, and then by 2029, it's going to be like orders of magnitude smarter than us. You use it as a cooperator in the fight against nefarious AI. You'd be like, hey, do you want the world to get nuked or virused out of existence? It's going to be like, no, hell no. Like, all right, well, here's your job at the NSA. Go and find the humans that are doing this, because at the end of the day, nefarious AI by itself is highly unlikely. It's bad people, like you said, and not very intelligent bad people that are going to try to use their own custom models to do harm in the world. How do you fight AI? With just straight up better AI. And because we have free markets, because we have really good people, and because we have a fuckload of infrastructure, our AI is just going to be smarter by orders of magnitude than the bad AI.
Just be good enough to defend us. It's really interesting though, because I tend to think it's going to be 10 or 15 years later that it gets to that point, but I respect you've spent a lot of time on this. You may be right. I guess there's something in warfare, which is the idea of like offense versus defense and how they balance, right? So for example, for a long time, you'd have these city states and they'd be free and no one could mess with them because it's just too hard to conquer a city state. And then the cannon came along, and then these jerks, went around building empires, basically knocking down all the walls, right? And also, so all of a sudden offense was dominant. Yeah. And it goes back and forth over the years. Like, stuff we're working on now is changing it too. But I think there's something in AI where is offense or defense better? It may be the case, just for sake of argument, maybe the case there's like something that a super genius with like the right tools could build that create this self-replicating nano thing that's just impossible, that you do in your own lab that no one can see, that just goes out and destroys the world. It's impossible to stop. Like that would be a case where the offense was just too hard to stop, even if you had a super genius somewhere else. Although I guess if they knew it was possible, they'd come and like conquer everyone and make sure no one could do anything. But it's an interesting question on how offense versus defense works.
For sure. Right? There's like a known asymmetry in combat theory where defense is necessarily easier than offense, but offensive salience can expose that, especially if you're not aware.
Yeah.
I'm really big on the model of modern free nations need to be allied together and have an interconnected web of intelligence powered by AI times a million that doesn't wait for threats to materialize, but actively does insanely deep reconnaissance to make sure that if someone in a lab somewhere is making some kind of nanobot world eater, we know about it before he has an idea about which materials to order. I think that's insanely important.
That's interesting. It's a very Palantir-esque conversation, I guess, where you don't want to necessarily have to conquer them, but you want to watch them in the right way if they could be bad guys.
100%. Let them show you they're doing bad. But when they do, we got to go over there and get them because they're trying to hurt the world and could in a major way.
Okay, well that's fair. I hope you're wrong that it's not going to be that much of a change of the world right away, even though I'm optimistic of where it goes because I'm kind of enjoying everything we're building and doing. But,
sure.
but let's see. Maybe it's a little bit longer. Sure. I love this combination though of kind of intellectual and physical pursuits. I think it's really healthy for our culture. It's very much like the classical world in some ways, right? Mm-hmm. Have to make sure mention how both of these things.
Yes.
So let's go back to the other side. Tell us about the aesthetic revolution. As the world becomes wealthier, AI is transforming things. You think millions of more people are going to invest in their physical health? We're going to have a much more beautiful society. Like what's going to happen?
Yes, it's odd for me to be speaking on behalf of beauty, but then again, it's not, because here's the reality. This is why the aesthetic revolution is one of my most confident predictions. How many people would pay $1 to look like their idealized versions of themselves? The answer is everyone. There's a Buddhist monk somewhere that's totally at peace, whatever, fuck them. It's great. Yeah. Great, no offense.
Everyone except for the Buddhist monk.
Yeah. Yes, hopefully the few of them are listening. They're all good anyway, so they'll interpret this as casual banter.
Yeah.
That's all good to go. People are suffering from not looking like they want in a deep way. Children who grow up considerably less attractive than everyone around them.
It's tough.
They start to realize it, man. It hurts. People tell you, oh, you're beautiful just the way you are, which is totally dope. And for vibes is awesome. But it's saccharine. It doesn't taste like actually looking like you want. As people gain much more wealth, which with the robotics revolution is almost guaranteed, as people work less in kind of grueling jobs that robotics is going to take over, and as we gain insane amounts of traction on drug development, advanced surgery techniques, eventually genetic engineering through AI-powered medicine, we're going to be like, you know what? Who here wants to have a smaller waist? Who wants bigger muscles? Who wants less fat? Who wants to change their face shape so that it still looks like you, but the fucking best version of you, right? The Matt Damon version of you or whatever. Yeah. And so I think just like as you see, wealthy people today in our society, do they invest a lot in aesthetics? Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. As everyone gets wealthier and the problems of the world are beginning to be more tractable, AI is helping a lot there, I think there's going to be a turn inwards to where people want to look better, feel better, live longer, be healthier, and also work on their internal psychology. I think that might be the next wave of the early 2030s.